من ربك ربي الله ما دينك ديني الإسلام.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Deen Matters Family Edition. Now earlier we talked about trust, how trust is a must. But Dr. Slimi, you also mentioned that for families, like in real estate, people say location, location, location. Instead, it's all about communication, communication, communication.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Yeah, I always say that because 65 to 70% of marriage problems, especially just before divorce, is about communication. And here we talk about family, and we talk about communication between husband and wife, parents as partners in this big business of parenting, and also parents and children. And we spoke a few episodes before about building the barrier and how to avoid building the barrier between children and parents, and to avoid a wall that which called divider. And communication is so important, but it starts with the art of listening. There's something called the art of listening. You know, they speak about the art of speaking, the art of talking, the art of presentation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran, beautiful verse in Surah number 7, He said, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. When the Quran is being recited to you, for you to benefit from it, you need to develop the ability of insat. Sama' is hearing, insat is listening. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Give you an example. A daughter comes to her mother and the mother says, I am busy. The daughter says, please listen to me, mom. You know, and she would just sit down with her because she loves her. But at that moment, she is hearing her voice, but her mind is in the cooking. The husband might come and find no dinner. The children making noise. She has to pick up something from the store that closes at 9. All kinds of things are running in her head. So while her daughter is talking, she's listening or she's hearing. If she's listening, she's going to forget everything and focus on the matter. It might be very, very important matter. But if she's only hearing her, I heard you, fine, we'll deal with it, and then she goes back. The focus is not there. So this requires also not only hearing what is being said to you, you're also paying a careful attention to how the person talking to you is speaking. If there is a pain behind that voice, if there is frustration behind that voice, if there is a plea behind that voice. So listening is more than just hearing the sound, is also hearing the person's pain. That is the difference between listening and hearing. Very often women would come and say, yeah, he hears, or the husband for that matter, he would say, she just says yes or no, but she's not listening to me. It means a lot to me that she should go do this for herself. It means a lot to me that he goes and do it. So it's very critical that we develop the art of listening with our children, with our spouses, and of course, by extension, the people around us.
Now with this art of listening, here's a very common problem: interruptions. People constantly interrupting. Dr. Slimi, is there any prophetic advice? Is there any insight that you can share with people who are suffering from constant interruptions?
As they're selfish people. Unfortunately, the people who interrupt, they interrupt for two reasons. Either they know what you're going to say and they're so intelligent, but even though they know, they're disrespectful to you. Okay. Or number two, they are listening to the little voice. There is a little voice in our head. So you're talking and I'm interpreting, oh, what does he mean by that? Oh, so rather than listening to you, I'm interpreting based on the voice. There's a voice that's talking to us. All of us talk to ourselves. This little voice prevents and puts a veil and a barrier between you and me. So I'm not listening. So two cases. People who are very intelligent, they know what you're going to talk. God gave them this. But Usually if they know, they should nod their head and smile that I get you, I get you, I feel you. And then when you end, I knew what you were talking about, and this is why. They're going to be naturally, if they're respectful, naturally being able to continue the conversation. Maybe you couldn't put it, let's say there's a set paragraph, and you're reading it, and I feel like you're reading from a paragraph, but then you stop. I'll be able to continue it, and that would be a therapy or a help for you, or just a sense of peace that we get along and actually we do think the same way. So you see harmony. For the other group, they just interrupt. Sometimes you won't believe it. I'm just mentioning something from the Quran. As a respect, we're supposed to let the person finish the verse of the Quran. Don't interrupt the Quran. And this, by the way, mentioned in the Quran, لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه. Let Jibreel read and recite and go with him, go along. Don't hasten. Part of the education of the Prophet ﷺ, who was receiving the Quran, his spirit so strong, the receiving was very powerful for him. And this is an art. So my brothers and my sisters, please, all of us need to improve the art of listening. And I didn't talk about speaking, maybe next time, but very important, we learn how to listen. Salat, especially Salatul Jama'ah, you're praying behind the Imam, you're listening. Ramadan, you have Taraweeh. Even if you don't understand the words, let the words fall on your heart. Just listen. Somehow the Quran, you get the meaning, even if you don't understand the language. Because the way it is constructed, the way it is, put together.
Thank you, Dr. Slimi, for reminding us about the importance of listening, and may Allah make us among those who really perfect the art of listening. Thank you for tuning in, Deen Matters Family Edition. Hit the subscribe button, and as always, leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.